Hello, lovers of African films and theaters. Thank you so much for joining us on bothakgatv. My name is Pizzi, and we usually do reviews and drop them every single Thursday. Today, we are talking about one of South Africa's loved films. And I say films because this is a sequel from the Keeping Up with the Kandasayms franchise. Today we are talking about Trippin with the Kandasayms on Netflix. Well, rather available on Netflix. So for those who are not familiar with the first two movies that came before this, there is Keeping Up with the Kandasayms and then the Kandasayms Wedding. So basically it's a story about two neighbors, Jennifer and Shanti, who were just these neighbors who just never got one another and always gave one another attitudes, judged one another, mocked one another, only for their children to fall in love with one another. Obviously, they have other interesting characters in the movies. There's Aya, who's the grandmother, and obviously the husbands who just adore one another. You know, just how ironic. These wives who are at each other, and then the husbands who just get well with one another. When they get naughty together. So with Trippin with the Kandasayms, we see them as this family unit. Now instead of two couples, we have three couples. Obviously the children are married now. The children then go meet up with the parents, and great decision for the direction of the movie to then happen at a different location. I felt that it gave them a very unique feel. It's something quite refreshing and unexpected. It was honestly gonna be, now that I think of it, it may have possibly been redundant if the same types of conflicts that happened in the first two movies were also happening now in Trippin like kind of something in the same environment. You know, so for them to go on location, go on vacation, it was an amazing idea. Shout out to them for that decision. And this movie is shot in Durban and it's shot in one of the most beautiful lodges. The usage of location shoots, thank you for spoiling us, but that was just incredible. I think there are moments where it is the jokes are landing very, very well. Obviously it's not nice when some jokes don't land so well. But I think they pick themselves up and they just go at it. Maybe it was just a matter of comedic timing, or maybe certain things were just not written well. I think a very interesting thing that they did is introducing this character called Divani, who then brings this housewives on their toes. Oh, are they housewives? One of them is working. But this woman who have always been against one another on their toes, she does trigger, she does intimidate. So we see all of those events and just how her presence has brought these two women who have been against one another together. And one thing was beautiful was the fact that the two characters, Jennifer and Shanti, were not just clashing against one another. It was now a refreshing take for them to, you know, to now just be together and like be on the same side. I think that was refreshing rather. I think it could have been a bit repetitive if they yet again another movie and they're against one another, and you know, and it had beautiful moments. I think it's more than just a comedic movie. There are just so many events that happen that was beautiful. There's a moment that happens and Jennifer and Shanti just decide to storm out. That event was beautiful. There's a moment at the beach that was just where with the couples, with the older couples, Jennifer and her husband, Shanti with her husband, Divani with her presence there. Those moments were extremely beautiful. I feel like out of all the three movies, Trippin with the Kandasayms is a much more layered film. It's much better than the other ones, which I don't think it's a bad thing actually, because if you're then gonna have two movies before and then you have a sequel, if you can achieve something that's much better, then you have done your job really well. I don't see why not they can't continue and bring us another fourth film. Maybe some audience will say, we are good with the story. But I think there's room to play. If they can keep on being as creative as they were, I think it's something that they can go and brag about. yeah, like I said, I spoke about certain jokes. I appreciated Aya being there, who's the granny, and some of the moments and some of the things she does, they landed very, very well. They were very, very funny. Her comedic timing was just beautiful, and we just saw these actors pour out their heart out. One of the things that I also enjoyed was seeing Jodie and Prashen go through young issues as a rather go through issues as a young couple, and just how they spoke about them. And I think it was beautiful that they didn't just go with a negative almost narrative, and just seeing young people go through problems and them speaking recklessly about it. I felt what they made them go through in the story became almost a teachable moment. And that was just beautiful, seeing them, their sense of maturity, how they insist on doing things differently to their parents. That dynamic was beautiful. I do think Tripping with the Kandasamy will be a movie worth your time. I don't think you would have missed much if you didn't watch the other two films. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it is a continuation, but it doesn't feel like one of those movies where if because you missed something that happened in the first film, now you're like, what is happening now? You know, that was beautiful. Divani being introduced in the story, and also her own story and her own problems, them eventually getting exposed. That was nice to witness. I think they got a car sponsorship because they were just slaying us with beautiful cars. So that dynamic was also beautiful. Yeah, them going into that villa to spend time as a family, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Kudos to them. It's Tripping with the Kandasamy, available on Netflix. Maybe what did I not enjoy? I think I spoke about sometimes the comedic timing not being there, certain jokes not landing so well. I did think it was shot beautifully. You know me with my technical constructive criticism. I don't speak that much about it. But I'm more interested in the story and just how it made me feel as an audience member. I thought the story is something substantial. I thought it had many subgenres in it, which was just much more like it made it a much more layered film. And yeah, that's all I have to say about Tripping with the Kandasamy.